Hey guys, Mr. Breen here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about changes to the equilibrium price. Alright, as usual, let's start by drawing a supply and demand curve. So here we have quantity on the x, price on the y, sloping upward supply curve, and a demand curve that slopes downward according to the law of demand. Now, as previously discussed, a relatively high price, a price that's above equilibrium, will cause a surplus, and a price that's below equilibrium will cause a shortage, but a price that's directly at equilibrium will cause quantity supplied and quantity demanded to be equivalent to each other, and that clears the market, and that's a good thing. Producers like that. But what if that equilibrium changes? Well, I want you to notice something. That equilibrium can't change because someone decides to change it, or because the government comes in and changes it, or because somebody charges a different price. No matter what price you charge, if it isn't at the equilibrium set by the supply and demand curves, then you're going to get either a surplus or shortage and be at disequilibrium. What kinds of things could change this? Well, if supply changes, and what kinds of things change supply? Well, if input costs go up or down. Input costs, if changing input costs, technology, okay, if it becomes cheaper through some technological advance to produce something, or who knows, maybe your society loses technological capabilities, or the number of suppliers, okay, the government can actually change equilibrium by enacting a tax or a subsidy. Okay, taxes will tend to decrease supply and subsidies will tend to increase them. Okay, or if there's a war abroad, or if there's some kind of natural disaster, or if producers are expecting, so there's producer expectations. Okay, producer expectations. And what kinds of things can change demand? Well, things like consumer income, the price of related goods like substitutes or complements, related goods, okay, quite simply consumer taste, the population of consumers, if it's going up or down, or who's in that population, or of course, consumer expectations of price changes in the future. Okay, let's get rid of this list of other stuff that I went through in another video. And let's say that supply increases maybe because of a decrease in input costs. So let's say that supply increases. All right, now at the old equilibrium price, not too precise there, sorry, but at the old equilibrium price now we have now, here's quantity demanded still. Demand hasn't changed, so quantity demanded at the old equilibrium price will remain the same, but now at that price, producers are willing to produce more. Okay, so we're going to get a surplus, okay? And the way to resolve a surplus is to lower prices. And guess what? They're going to lower prices until they get to the new equilibrium, where quantity demanded and quantity supplied are the same. Well, what if supply decreases? Okay, if supply decreases, here's our new lower supply. At that supply, okay, at the old equilibrium price, there's the new quantity supplied at that price, and the quantity demanded at that price hasn't changed. Now we have a shortage, and how do you resolve shortages? Well, you increase the price, the suppliers increase the price, until they reach the new market equilibrium. Sorry, this is my poor attempt at an E. Alright, well, what about changes in demand? Okay, let's say that demand goes up. Maybe everybody's income goes up, and this is a normal good. So demand goes up when everybody's income goes up, and it's a normal good. So at the old equilibrium price, it's very rough, sorry. At the old equilibrium price, here's quantity supplied. That hasn't changed. Supply hasn't changed. And here's the new quantity demanded, which is higher at that price because demand has gone up. And that's going to give us a shortage. So how do you resolve a shortage? Raise the price to the new equilibrium. To the new equilibrium price, which is now higher. Price at equilibrium. But what happens when demand decreases? Okay, let's say that everybody's income goes up, but this good is actually an inferior good. So it's the kind of good that people buy less of at every price if their income goes up. So here's lower demand, demand 2. And at that demand, at the old equilibrium price, oh, that's very rough, sorry. But at the old equilibrium price, here's quantity demanded, relatively low now. And here's quantity supplied, terrible line, sorry, but quantity supplied. And at the old equilibrium price, we're going to have a surplus. So how do we resolve surpluses? Well, you lower the price until it reaches the new equilibrium price, which is lower. Okay, notice that if supply goes up, then the equilibrium price will go down. And if supply goes down, the equilibrium price will go up. You know, if demand stays the same. And if demand goes up, the equilibrium price will go up. And if demand goes down, the equilibrium price will go down. And that's sort of nicely aligned with our intuitions. Our intuitions would tell us if supply goes up, then you would expect the price to go down, and if supply goes down, you would expect the price to go up, and so on. And it sort of aligns with what we see in real life. So that's nice. Now, the implication of this is that all changes in the equilibrium price are a result of changes in supply and demand, and therefore changes in all the things that affect supply and demand, like input prices, that is input costs, I should say, technology, number of suppliers, consumer income, consumer tastes, consumer expectations, producer expectations, all of those things. So when you notice prices changing, and you know the government hasn't gotten involved to control prices in some way, you can be sure that it's because of some change in those underlying factors.